The Virtue Museum I decided to attend was the Museo Dolores Olmedo. It was interesting to see the artwork in this museum, but what mostly interested me was the Frida Kahlo exhibit. Frida Kahlo was a famous Mexican artist born on July 6, 1907 in Coyoacan, Mexico. The arts were introduced to Frida at a young age. Her father, who was originally from Germany but immigrated to Mexico, was a photographer who became known for his images of landscapes, buildings, and interiors, according to DW.com, a German news site. Guillermo Kahlo, Frida Kahlo's father, helped develop image awareness growing up because he taught her to pose and use her gaze and surroundings to raise awareness of the onlooker, but also of her own reflection. The German news site DW states that this marked the beginning of her self made image and how she portrayed herself in her paintings. Frida Kahlo's father was a key influence in her artwork, but the story of her life definitely took it to another level. Frida Kahlo's life was tumultuous to say the least. She went through many hardships in her life, which she portrayed in her many portraits. Kahlo had many heart health problems in her life. The first started when she was young. According to FridaKahlo.org, she contracted polio at the age of 6 and had to be bedridden for 9 months. The disease took a physical toll on Frida because it caused her right leg and foot to grow thinner than her left, causing her to limp for the rest of her life. The second health issue presented to Frida was a tragic bus accident, which changed Frida's life forever. The bus collision left Kahlo very injured. A steel handrail impaled her through the hip, which caused her spine and pelvis to fracture. After this accident, Frida's life was never the same. Frida began to paint and started painting her first portrait. In the year 1928, Frida Kahlo started dating famous Mexican painter Diego Rivera, whom she married a year after. The relationship between Rivera and Kahlo was very complicated, toxic, and had its many ups and downs. Overall, Frida always dreamed of becoming a mother, and after being married with Rivera for some years, they decided to start a family. This leads us on to the first painting titled Henry Ford Hospital, 1932. The painting shows a pregnant Frida Kahlo alone, laying on a large bed surrounded by blood. Frida painted this following her second miscarriage. The setting of the painting itself is gloomy, starting with the faded blue sky covered with clouds. The sky sets its somber tone, portraying what Frida felt during this sorrowful time. What is also pictured in the painting are 6 brightly colored objects connected with an umbilical light cord. The first appears to be a snail. It is meant to represent the slowness of miscarriage and possibly how Frida felt days following the loss of her baby. The second is a male fetus. He presents the child lost. She paints him peacefully in the sky. According to Google Arts and Culture, in a state of deep depression, Frida asked to be brought the fetus of her child so that she could paint it. She was not granted her wish. The fetus in the painting is Frida's interpretation of what she imagined her child would look like. The third element is a pelvic bone with a spinal cord. This is meant to represent her tragic bus accident, which left her spine fractured as well as her pelvis. This is a key element in this painting because the complications arisen were from her previous injuries and how damaged her body was. The fourth element is a machine. In my opinion, I believe this was meant to represent her body and how it is mechanical and functions like a broken machine that didn't allow her to become a mother or meet her baby. The fifth element is a dying orchid. Perhaps this was Frida's way of saying that she felt she was wilting and dying along with her baby. Orchids are a known symbol of fertility and sexuality. This could also mean that she accepted she was infertile and would never get the chance to become a mother. The last element is a pelvic bone. Frida mentions her pelvis twice in this art piece. Perhaps she feels resentment towards her own body for failing her and not doing what it was meant to do, which is to bear children. Henry Ford Hospital 1932 is culturally significant because it portrays what some women go through when they miscarry, the emotions, and their new view of the world after. The second painting, also by Frida Kahlo, is The Deceased Dimas. Frida painted this in 1937 after the death of her servant's son, Dimas. FridaKahlo.org states that Diego is the godfather of the child. When this child was seriously ill, the family refused to go to a medical doctor but would rather use a witch doctor. Although Diego tried to get medical help for the child, the family refused it and the child finally died of his disease. The death of Dimas took a toll on Frida because she was close to the family, and it seemed that misfortune surrounded her. The painting shows a child laying down with his hands crossed, laying on his chest peacefully. Dimas wears a brightly colored robe with green, yellow, and blue. It is very similar to the attire of Catholic Saint Joseph. Saint Joseph is the patron for happy death. This leads me to believe that possibly Frida wanted the attire to represent that Dimas is happy and safe now and not in any sort of discomfort or pain from the disease he suffered from. Alongside Dimas are a multitude of flowers, but most importantly marigolds or cempasúchil flowers. Marigolds are known as Flor de Muerto or Flower of the Dead. This brightly colored flower was thought to represent the sun to the Aztecs and would guide the spirits on their way to the underworld. At the head of Dimas is a picture of Christ. I believe that Frida wanted the boy to be received in heaven by Christ and dressed him and prepared him for his next destination. This painting is culturally significant because it shows the viewer how Frida ties together grief, religious beliefs, and Mexican tradition all in one painting.